The nanites are off.
But Ray Garrison still gets busy.
You are now watching WhoDooTV.
This is WhoDooTV, and I'm Hoosier.
And I'm Jared.
Today we are talking about Bloodshot Salvation number 5, and my oh my, LaRosa, Mico, Suayan give us a beautiful piece of work with Diego Rodriguez doing the colors for them, and Jeff Lemire is giving us a story.
This is a A+ work. It is such a good story. I am enjoying this run of Bloodshot so much. It's great. Just want to let you guys know we are going to be getting into this a little bit, so there's might be some spoilers. If you haven't read this book, hit pause, come back to us after you have read this book, because yeah, it's totally worth it.
Might be some spoilers. We're gonna spoil the crap out of this thing because this is a dang good book, and it got both of us like just super excited to read it. I read this and I was just like, oh man, I can't wait to talk about this book.
Oh yeah, me too. Me too.
It's quite a story that we're getting here with, in number 3, Ray had the nanites turned off when he's in the middle of fighting everybody in Daddy's compound, right? And we didn't know what happened because number 4, we got the backstory of Rampage and Scarred Man.
Right.
And it left us like, what the heck's going to happen now, dude? The nanites are off, And Ray is, he's vulnerable.
Yeah, it felt like his power... I mean, his powers were turned off, and it felt like he was powerless at that moment.
Right.
But we couldn't be more wrong.
Well, and it's some cool back and forth of him and Daddy and their dialogue going back and forth. And Ray is very on his own, strong-willed, strong-minded. And I liked that characterization that Jeff Lemire gives us. We get to see him basically still hold up without the nanites. Basically not be the vulnerable, woe is me, Bloodshot Reborn number 1 Ray Garrison. It's, no, I have a family and there's this pride there and he's not giving up. I mean, not the way he was in Bloodshot Reborn number 1, and it was really cool to see that.
Yeah, definitely. He was more... what really shines in this is that Ray has always been Ray. And that's what really is highlighted in this. Having the Bloodshot, the nanites in him, didn't change who he was. He's still, like you said, that strong-willed, strong character. I
think it did justify some of the things he did, though, having those nanites in him. And later in this book, we're going to see why I say that. But he did, I'm doing these things because of the nanites. You know what I mean? It kind of overlooked some of the moral compass that he had when he would terminate somebody.
Right.
And all of his, Bloodshot kills, right? And he's in the boxcar getting pretty much beat up by the rednecks and spitting in Daddy's face. And like I say, I loved the dialogue back and forth between those two. It
was excellent. I mean, Daddy was pretty much threatening him, saying he wants to see his grandchild. The great thing that came out of number 3 was Daddy was able to see when Ray turned into Bloodshot.
Right.
He pretty much told everybody that it was the devil. And so it was more of that brainwashing going on. And so he approaches Ray wanting the baby, saying that he wants to get the devil out of the baby, and it's just more of this brainwashing, more of this twisting words and twisting situations to really be on his side. And he even says, he even threatens Ray by threatening one of his own, I guess, child wives. It's really disgusting. And I mean, he even says that they're even willing to die for this cause. And sure enough, they kind of corroborated that. They said, yes, I'm willing to, sacrifice for this moment. And it's crazy, just the control that he has on this compound.
It is. It's kind of sickening to that matter, too. I did like how that whole thing played out, though. And we got to see our buddy, Colin King, come in and pretty much knock off some heads.
Yep. Yep. Colin was tipped off that Ray was at this compound by Magic. He showed up to the hospital where Magic took Jessie because Jessie looks to be, suffering a lot in this change in the nanites that are showing up in her system. And so after Magic has given the call to Colin, he's come to kind of see what he can do, really.
Mm-hmm. And he does. He comes in and basically, right after that point of having the daughter, wife, whatever, he comes in and takes care of everybody around him, and he frees Ray. And this is like where I say it allows Ray Garrison to take things into his own hands without the nanites. Mm-hmm. And we're left to believe he took care of Daddy.
Yeah. I mean, he took one of Colin's katanas and chased down Daddy. I mean, it is an intense splash page. It was just this crazy thing of chasing him down. Just complete anger in his eyes. And I think that is such a great thing that LaRosa does is he can show so much emotion. And there's so many panels in this book of where it's just the eyes. And you know exactly what they're feeling. And he does it so well.
Right. And it's weird because the Bloodshot eyes usually kind of take away that from Bloodshot, right? That depth. And so that was a beautiful piece. Mm-hmm. One thing I really enjoyed about this is that Jeff answered that question of how did they turn off all the nanites, but Jessie is still activated, right? Mm-hmm. With the nanites. It's that they didn't know about him, that they, the way it was basically naturally reproduced into her. And it was kind of scarred man's like, why don't I have access to these nanites? What the heck's going on here?
Yeah, it seems like perhaps her nanites are outside of their system. Mm-hmm. Even though it shows up as a ping in their system that they're on still, mm-hmm. It seems like she's not going to be able to be controlled by these guys, right. Which is awesome.
Right. And, part of this book, we get to see what ended up at that barn with the Bloodshot group, right? With the Bloodshot group, and with Jessie, older Jessie now, mm-hmm. older Magic now, in the Soon. And Punk Mambo had basically channeled Bloodshot from 4002. Mm-hmm. And while Punk Mambo was doing that, she lost her power to actually basically see what's going on around the barn area. And the barn basically explodes.
And Rampage comes out of nowhere and, tells Jessie, like, I ain't your mama. I'm here to... Mm-hmm. It's go time, really. And that's pretty much where we were left off. We're kind of left to believe that Punk Mambo and Magic are dead and, what happened to the other Bloodshot guys. It's a pretty intense just couple pages. Right. And that's really all we get of the Soon in this one.
Mm-hmm. One thing I liked really cool in that barn scene is that it was Jessie who said somebody else is here. Mm-hmm. None of the other Bloodshots figured it out. Punk Mambo, basically, she was busy channeling Ray, that she didn't get to figure it out. But it's really pretty awesome to see that Jessie's got like these more intense powers than the other Bloodshot crew.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that, actually, especially when we learn that it's a different kind of nanite situation that she's got going on inside of her. She was pinged up, but right. They can't do anything to turn them off. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, they must be channeling some other sorts of abilities in her.
Right. Well, Jeff Lemire is still, he's uncovering all these questions, right? And he's pulling out more with all of the things that he's doing. Just like explaining the way that Rampage's skin is dark and not white like all the other Bloodshots, because he's not a Bloodshot. It's in a different form, and it's I just love the way he's been able to explain that and basically answer a lot of questions that were on there.
Yeah, it's really cool. He's taking this character and this mythos, and he's done this before. He just really has a masterful understanding of who Bloodshot is, what his motivations are, who the characters are around it, and then building the world around them. Lemire is such a talented author, just a talented writer, and he really brings just a whole lot of depth to all of this. And I appreciate it. I appreciate it totally.
Yeah, this book was spot on to me. all of what he did, right? Answering all the questions that needed to be that were out there. Basically, closing up this arc, amazing, right? He wrapped it up, and it was really good. And I have to give it to that. And then Lewis and Mico's art. Again, what can I say that hasn't already been said? The emotion that Lewis puts in his images and his characters is a story in its own. I know they did the silent issue once with Ninjak. I could see Jeff Lemire and Louis LaRosa doing a silent issue with this run, Bloodshot Reborn, which would be super cool. I know eventually we're going to get the black issue. And that I could see Jeff Lemire writing that really well and interesting as well, that I would be looking forward to. But with the pairing and just all of it together, this story is top class, man. It's top shelf.
It absolutely is. So what would you score this one?
Probably my favorite artist team right now. One probably my favorite writer. And one of my very, very favorite characters in all of comic books. 5.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I have to agree with you. I'm right up there with a 5 too. I think this is a high class book. This is a book that deserves a 5. I just think every situation it puts you in, you feel it, with the words and with the artwork and the colors. Right. I mean, it's a full, I guess, collaboration to get you to feel what the characters are feeling through the entire creative team, and I just really appreciate that. And it is, I think this one is quickly becoming my favorite ongoing at the moment. I think it's just that good. I mean, we've got EXO, we've got Ninja K, and we have Harbinger Renegade and
Quantum and Woody.
Yeah. But I mean, Bloodshot is just like standing out, and those other series aren't bad series. Right. They are great series, right. But there's something special here.
Right, and don't take Jared's word. Don't take my word for it. I recommend you go get this book if you haven't been reading it, right? Read this book. Get it when the trade comes out. You probably want to put it on your pull list after that. And if you are reading it, I want to know what you're thinking about this book. What do you think about what Jeff Lemire is doing here? And man, it still leaves the door open for 4002, what we're going to see there. And yeah, I'm pumped.
Me too.
Pumped.
Absolutely pumped. Hey, if you like this video, be sure to hit the like button below.
There's also that subscribe button down there too. Make sure you punch that. We'd appreciate it. Follow us at Twitter at WhoDooTV, also on Facebook.
Yeah, and we'd like to thank our friends over at OutrightGeekery.com. Be sure to check them out. They got all sorts of nerdy stuff on there.
Links down in the description. Thank you for watching WhoDooTV. We appreciate you guys.